You know, there's a basket of shawls and things if anybody wants a lap warmer or anything. Somewhere in the front. Good. Cooking.
Nice. Color combo. Okay. Ryan's going to jump up and move that mic again. How's that? Okay. We try. Good evening. Welcome. Happy to be with you. Everybody's been here before, but just in case there's someone new on streaming, I'm Zopa, this is Bill and Dora, and we're associate teachers here. And we'll follow our usual schedule tonight of some shamatha, calm abiding meditation, maybe about 45, 50 minutes, with a bit of guidance. Then we'll have a tea break, and then we will help one another practice by engaging in Dharma discussion. How are we doing with all this? So, hope you can stay for that, but if you can't, that's okay. Evidently, Kala Rinpoche used to frequently review the 4 thoughts that turn the mind to frame all of our Dharma activities. I've heard Lama Michael say that he very frequently went through those, no matter what he was teaching. And I know I haven't done that for a while, so I thought tonight just a quick run through. First, turn the mind from what to what? Shortest description is turn it from suffering to non-suffering. So most of us, it seems, lose track of the preciousness, joy, and wonder of our current circumstances, sometimes labeled precious human life, precious human existence. I have a very complaining mind. So I complain about things, and I forget how absolutely amazing the situation is. The way I was taught to briefly look at precious human life, which is the first thought that turns the mind, is to simply consider the vast number of beings, whatever you can call to mind, but beyond humans for sure, animals, fish, birds, insects. All of those are included in sentient beings, that is, beings with feelings and reactions. And think of what your circumstances are like compared with most. I just read a statistic about over half the people in the world live on about $2.50 a day. Wow. I could not do this, I don't think. And therefore they are malnourished, and they are unhoused, and they lack medical care. And we have pretty much all those things. Plus the most preciousness of a precious human life is somehow the karma rising to come to the Dharma, to come to a path that says there is a way to end suffering. And to come to that with what's called a sensitivity for truth in your own heart, a searching, a kind of not giving up on that. And to come with that, to that, and connect with authentic Dharma teachers, which is also very difficult to find. And then to be able to get teachings and have the leisure time to practice them. This is so rare that one quote I remember from a teacher, it's so rare that it's just plain not going to happen. And yet, here we are. Conditions have come together from our own efforts as part of the conditions too. So here we are with this amazing opportunity, precious human life. And the second thought that turns the mind is, we have no idea how long this will last. It could end tonight. This happens, we know that. We kind of know it, but we don't know it. One time a teacher had us write down on a list all the people we knew who had died, and my list had like 60-some people at that time. And then I looked up and I said to her, you know what? And I still think I'm not gonna die It's like this sort of stubborn ignorance. And these were people who died at all kind of ages. Infants, teens, adults, expected, unexpected. So usually that second one's simply called impermanence, and that includes the impermanence of every single moment and the impermanence of this life. So you put those two together, the precious human life, the incredible opportunity, along with not knowing when it will end, but knowing it will end. And that can really encourage us in our practice to not waste our time and energy on things that will not be helpful in our next life and that are not helpful in this life, actually. And then the third thought that turns to mind is karma, which is very complex, and we're all quite confused about it, myself included. But I stay with the guideline that every thought I have, every word I speak, every act I do has consequences. And those may lead towards suffering, they may lead away from suffering, or they may be called what's neutral karma, not particularly going in any direction. So just stepping up to the responsibility that each and everything I do sets out a ripple, and I have no idea where it goes, so may I do things that are of benefit to others, and therefore automatically will be benefit to the self. And the fourth thought is sometimes called the faults of samsara. And the way I get this in a nutshell is I spend my time running after things that as soon as I get them, I see they weren't what I thought, and that they actually have suffering within them, and that my running after and grasping was suffering, and now I have it, and I'm suffering, and now it's going to go, and that's going to be suffering. Or running away from what's right there, because I do not want to face it, see it. That's also suffering. You know, it's the ostrich method. The head is down, but the body's still exposed. Going to be affected. So the faults of samsara are that the samsaric mind that has so much aversion to what is, so much grasping at what really isn't there, and a kind of ignorance towards actually most things, just not knowing, not caring. This is the suffering. And yet, in our confusion, we think that's where the happiness is. And the confusion is amplified because there is some, what one teacher called low-level happiness there. There is happiness there, momentary pleasure, etc. But I liked that phrase. It helped me start sorting some things. Low-level temporary happiness versus the bliss that can be experienced from these practices and from following the Dharma. And that can lead us life after life to full awakening, which is the very best thing we can do for anyone, anywhere, anytime. So I suspect you all know everything I just said, but I thought it might be a good framework. And so we will now do our refuge in bodhicitta, which also tells us why are we here, and then we'll engage in shamatha together. Thank you, Bob.
Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness.
I wanted to share just one phrase on shamatha from a commentary by Kenshin Trangu Rinpoche. He says, in the practice of shamatha, you cultivate a state of attention that transcends two defects. One, excessive tension, and the other, excessive relaxation. And of course, as we engage in this, we'll go back and forth because we want to have a certain level of alertness, and that can create some excessive tension. We also want to be very relaxed, just meeting and seeing with clear mind whatever arises. But we can easily float away on that inner tube. So just keeping a mindful watch, relaxed, gentle, persistent watch on those two, excessive tension, excessive relaxation, and finding the middle and just being there. So enjoy your meditation.
this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state.
Thanks, everyone. And we can thank the people this morning who cleaned the hall very nicely as a team, the once a month cleanup. So I'm always happy with that. And I think you've probably heard all the announcements, but I'll just, I'll say one, and then if Bill and Dora want to say more about some of the other parts. This Tuesday, the Green Tara practice will happen here. From 6 to 6:30 is the shorter practice. Then there's a half-hour break, and 7 to, I think it's 8:30, is the traditional in Tibetan chanting with bells practice. So that first half hour is quite nice if you want to just come for a short Green Tara, or you want to just get introduced to the practice. It's quite wonderful. So please come. And this Thursday is mind training, 7 to 8:30 downstairs. So please join us. Oh, you want to do that one?
Sure.
Thanks. That's coming right up, too.
You get extra points if you guess what I'm about to say. Bodhisattva celebration. How many people would have gotten that right? Okay, good.
Whoever was here
That's,
last week.
yeah, the Saturday, December 15th, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And I hear that the kids program, they are polishing up a puppet show.
Yeah.
So amongst other wonderful things that may happen, and even more wonderful things, if you think up a story to come and share, it will be a delightful time. Bring finger foods, an appetite, all the rest. The New Year's retreat, 31st and the 1st, refuge at 4. The winter retreat, February 15th to April 13th.
Is that on the website yet?
I don't think it is. I'm not sure all the reason. What's that?
It will eventually get there.
Yeah, it will get there. It will get there, and you should also get there too. I hope you can all find some time to do some retreat, some personal retreat.
Okay, tea time. Cookies. Oh, possibly peanut butter cookies. That's just a rumor.
I better go find out.
Let's go check. Let's go check and see. The fact-checking team. Hey, Bob. Oh, okay.